How many of you the first time in my class? Okay. How many of you more than 5 times? All right. How many of you more than 10 times? Okay, thank you. A lot of people, they are wondering why some people here even more than 2-3 times. Not here, but my class. Okay. And you will know I probably teach 20 to 25 seminars per year all over the world. And there has been some crazy people follow me around. And from the East Coast to the West, West to the East, and the Middle West, and even Europe. Okay, sometimes I was teaching in Switzerland, Berlin, or even Sweden, and I saw people from US. Okay, and then of course some people thought, why those people following around? You don't look like George Clooney, you know, or even Tom Cruise, right? And why people follow you around? I think a lot of people realize, okay, my teaching are quite different than the regular Western educational teaching and learning. A lot of people thought that the teaching or learning is just the information passed by or passed on. Okay? Every time in the class I give you information. That's the Western mind, information. Okay, as long as I know the information, and I got it. But as a matter of fact, you know, the style I teach, I still follow very much the traditional Chinese way. I call it TCW, not TCM. I teach TCW. That means the traditional Chinese way. What is the traditional Chinese way? Wax on, wax off, okay? Wax on, wax off. So everybody in my class is like in the workshop, actually. Even I just teach the same title of the class. I know many of you follow me more than once, so you will realize that, you know, every time when you're in my class, the level of absorption are different. Exactly the same information I teach in the class, but how much you can absorb in every class are different, because every time the level of the absorption are different. Especially some of you learned my method when you go home and you start practicing. And the more you practice, the more excited you become, and the more question you have. And then next class, even the same title, when you join again, you find out all the questions are being answered, because you are in different levels. That's why it's wax on and wax off. If you only wax on and wax off for 10 times, you learn nothing. If you do the same practice for 10,000 times, and you're ready to fight on the stage, that's exactly the philosophy the movie show in the Karate Kids. In Chinese, we say many times in the teaching, the student first thing they learn, they 知道. What the 知道 means in Chinese is you acknowledge, you know the information. Okay, so this is a 知道. And the next step, when you are on different level, every time even you're in the same class, okay, then you 得到, okay. 得到, I think many of you know the meaning. 得 like a 得气, right? What is 得气? You gain the qi, you get the qi. Right? And after you get the qi, here you 得到, you know the way, you know the method, you know the theory, you know the principle. Okay? It's not you know it, but also you gain it. Okay, the first step is you know those. And the second step, you have that in your heart. Okay? And then finally, when you're in the higher level, in Chinese, we say 悟道. What is 悟道? 悟道 means all the things you learned in class become you yourself. In other words, when you pick up the needles, very intuitively, you already knew where to put the needle in. You're going to dissolve the patient's problem right away. You don't even need to think. And at that time, your Kung Fu has been the highest level. The intuition based on the richness and sufficient knowledge you have in your heart. That I always believe, okay? A lot of people say, well, I have a great intuition. But to me, if you don't have the experience from the past, okay, your intuition will be limited and poor. But if you keep on practice over and over, it will enrich your intuition. That's in the Wu Dao level. Okay? When you are in the level, then you can treat a lot of patients efficiently and effectively in short time. And people probably noticed also, you know, I have a very busy practice. I treat 25 to 45 patients a day, okay, in 6 hours. And some of the people follow me in my clinic, and sometimes their jaw will drop because they will see me finish treatment 7 to 8 patients in 20 minutes. Okay, and the interesting thing is, in 20 minutes, I treat 8 patients. They all get the result. They all get good result. So this is, you know, what I've been teaching in the past 15 years. I want to show and share my knowledge, my experiences especially, to the community to increase the effectiveness in the acupuncture treatment. Instead of every time you put the needles in, you have to pray, and to pray and hope this needle work. Instead of that, I would like to see everybody put the needles in. You already knew it will work. Okay. That's the main thing. And also in the acupuncture learning, what do you try to learn to do the acupuncture in a fun way? Have you ever thought about it? Every day when you go to your office, you practice, you put the needle in, you treat the patient. What is the fun? Stomach 36, treated the stomach problem, digestion problem. Liver 3, treat a headache. But sometimes hit and miss. You put it in, sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work. What is the fun to practice acupuncture? Have you ever thought about it? I think the fun every day I have is once I insert a needle, I see the result immediately. Immediately. Every time you put the needles in, the result, the response from the patient should be immediate. If you never seen that in your life, I'm sorry, I have to say, you really missed the fun to practice acupuncture. Every case, every patient, once you put the needles in, you ought to see the result immediate, within seconds. If you never experience that, or you don't experience that on every patient, I think you missed the fun practicing acupuncture. And the more fun you miss, what happened? The more frustration you build up. And I've seen so many licensed acupuncturists. The first day after their license, they're so excited. I become finally an acupuncturist now. Now I'm going to start my practice. And I'm going to do it. And I know I will become one of the best acupuncturists in the community. And yet, the more needles you do, the more frustration you build. especially in California. I don't know why, okay? Because I have been teaching all over the place. I realize in California, we have so many angry acupuncturists. And I'm sorry, I need to be honest. In Los Angeles, we have even more. Every time come to the class, in the beginning, everybody's like this. Damn it, I have spent 4 years and $50,000 to get this stupid license. But after 5 years, I'm still not practicing, you know. I still have to take 2 jobs and then put an acupuncture practice as my moonlight job, okay? That's why I would like to share my experience. Even I have such a busy practice to show you. Acupuncture treatment, they are documented in the classical old books. It works, and Li Gan Jian Ying in Chinese, okay? What is Li Gan Jian Ying? Li means stand, Gan means pour, Jian means you see, Ying means the shadow. How fast acupuncture work? Like you stand a pole under the sun, you see the shadow right away. Again, if you don't believe this, today I want to make you believe it. If you don't believe this, you need to change your belief in the past. Many times in our life, we tried first. We have the thinking first. After we have the thinking, we start taking a belief. After we believe this, then we take action. After we take action, we are expecting some result. When you practice acupuncture, if you don't see the result, you expect Li Gan Jian Ying, which is the classic book said, immediate result. If you don't experience that, you don't see that kind of result, what do? In English proverb, people say, try again. But the problem is this. If you are thinking and believe, it's wrong. No matter how many times you try, you are just repeating the same mistake. When you try again, repeat the same mistake, you still don't get the result. That's why for those people who never experience this or very seldom experience Li Gan Jian Ying, I really suggest you need to change your belief system, how acupuncture works. What you believe, how acupuncture works, should be totally put aside. You re-examine your thinking process when you do treatment. You re-examine how you think acupuncture is supposed to work. Is that a truth, or is it really will give you the result? This is what we are to see. In my teaching, I always like to say how acupuncture works, to ask my audience or student. Every time I say how acupuncture works, I would love you to answer me. 1, 2, 3. Very simple. If you don't mind, would you practice with me? Okay. How acupuncture works? Thank you. Sounds like a kindergarten student, right? Yeah, but very effective. Okay. 1, 2, 3. What is step 1? What is step 1? diagnosis. Of course, everybody say that's the most important thing. Every patient come in, I need to give a diagnosis. Otherwise, how can we treat a patient? But here, you need to change your habit from the past. You need to diagnose and learn how to diagnose in acupuncture way. Acupuncture way. What is the diagnosis in acupuncture way? Identify the effect and sick meridians. Okay? I put an S here, means it could be more than one. Identify the sick meridians. It's all the acupuncture business is about. We need to know which meridian need to be treated. We need to know which meridian has been sick, need to be adjusted, need to be balanced, need to be recovered from being sick to being healthy. So identify the sick meridian is step number one. A lot of people, okay, they forgot acupuncture is totally based on the meridian therapy. So the most important things is the meridians. So when you do acupuncture, the first thing you think is meridian, meridian, meridian. The second thing you think is still meridians. The third thing you think is still meridian. The last thing you think still meridian. Why I keep on repeating this? Because a lot of people are so tough and stubborn to change. You change your thinking process of how do you do acupuncture. You diagnose in acupuncture way. Identify the sick meridians. Make it a good habit. And step two is what? Find the balance. In Chinese medicine, we always believe and we always study for so many years. Anything's wrong on the human being's body because it is out of balance. When you find out the sick meridian, the next step is how do we find the balance? What is strategy we used to balance the sick meridians? And you have been in my class, I have 6 balancing systems, but when I wrote the book, I do 5, okay? Number 1 is what? We call it system 1. It's called an anatomic meridian name sharing system. Any 2 meridian, 1 in the foot, 1 in the hand, as long as they share the same Chinese name, they balance each other. I repeat, any 2 meridian, 1 in the hand, 1 in the foot. When they share the same Chinese name, they balance each other. What does that mean? What does that statement mean? Have you ever thought about it? What does hand yang mean? Balance with foot yang mean? Hand tai yang balance with the foot tai yang. What does that mean? That means any 2 meridians, 1 in the hand, 1 in the foot. As long as they have the similarity in Chinese anatomy, they balance each other. What are those terms means? Yang Ming, Shao Yang, Tai Yang. Have you ever really thought about it in a very careful way? What Yang Ming means in Chinese? Yang Ming means it has to be on the yang side of the body, front. It's a frontal yang side of the body. What is yang side? Yang side means on the body exposed to the sun more than the inside. So the easiest way, you just look at your body. If the skin is darker, that's the yang side. When the skin is lighter, I call it white meat and dark meat. Okay? Easy to remember from the Kentucky Fried Chicken terms. Okay, when it's a dark meat, yang side. When the white meat, inside. So what yang ming means? It's a frontal dark meat. What tai yang means? It's a back dark meat, posterior dark meat. What shao yang means? Lateral. That means in between the front and posterior. So any two meridians, if anatomically they locate in a similar position, frontal yang, balance frontal yang, back yang, balance back yang, lateral yang, balance lateral yang. They balance each other. So it's the yin. What a tai yin means? Frontal yin. It's a double yin. In Chinese terms, yang is the back, yin is the front also. Okay, because our body, the back side, exposed to the sun more than the front. So tai yin means greater yin, double yin. So it's not only in the inside, but also is in the front. Okay, so give you a double, you got your license, you already threw away those stuff. Because most of the acupuncturists, the way they learn acupuncture is what point to treat what. Today's title is Master Tong's Points. I know people are excited because Master Tong's points are so weird. And I want to know how you use those points. What point can treat a migraine? What point can treat a leukorrhea? What point can treat a diarrhea? What point can treat asthma? But if you think that's the way you're going to learn the acupuncture or learn Master Tong's point, I think you'll be frustrated. Why? Master Tong has more than 750 points. Okay? How can you memorize them? I think even 75 points you couldn't even handle. How can you memorize 750 points? But today, I take you back to the origin of the Chinese medicine, the acupuncture chapter, to understand the core, the anatomy of acupuncture. Then you understand why those points work on certain things. Okay? So this is what I'm going to do. First of all, we understand the system one. How do you balance? Secondly, how do you balance? Tai yang, balance tai yin. And shao yang, balance shao yin. And yang ming, balance jue yin. System 2 has a uniqueness. For older students, I don't know whether you have ever thought about it more than twice. System 2, the yang balance the yin balance the yang. System 1 don't have that. Why? Because same Chinese name. It has to be the same polarity in the balancing story. System 2, yang balance yin balance yang. And how do you get familiar with it? I know a lot of you have those colorful, fancy, dancy chart and the matrix, okay, to compare each meridian, how they balance. But here is a very simple rule. The Thai balance Thai, Shao balance Shao, Yin balance Yang. So what is left over? The Jue Yin and the Yang Ming. See that? That's how you remember it. Give you a simple example. If somebody have a back pain, no matter it's the upper back, middle back, lower back pain. What is your diagnosis in acupuncture way? Spleen qi deficiency? Fibromyalgia? Okay. So anybody ask Dr. Tan, what point to treat the fibromyalgia? What's your answer? Have you ever thought about it? What point to treat the fibromyalgia? When people ask me that, I always say, how the hell should I know? I'm not kidding. There's no acupuncture point to treat fibromyalgia. But there is strategies to treat fibromyalgia. That's what I've been teaching. I teach the strategy. I'm not teaching the point, because it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. Every time people tell you, oh, I tell you the magical point, very secret. Let's turn the lights off, okay? And oh, the window closed. I tell you, the point to treat the fibromyalgia is the lingu. Master Dong's point, lingu. Then you go back on Monday, you try on 10 fibromyalgia patients. Some works, some doesn't. And you say, well, this is same old, same old. Every time I put the needles in, I have to pray, okay? But here, I'm teaching you the strategy. How do you treat the fibromyalgia? Here, you see, if you have a back pain, what is your diagnosis again? Step one. Any patient on the back slab, especially too big muscle on the back, having pain, what is your diagnosis? It is foot taiyang UB channel problems. Please change the way you think about how acupuncture works. There's no point to treat the back pain, but there is steps to come up with the most effective strategy. That's how you learn acupuncture. Okay? Again, what's your diagnosis? It is on the urinary bladder channel. Now, what is the Chinese name? Foot taiyang. You think you pay $50,000 to the school learning those names are stupid? It's not. It's very useful. It's Chinese anatomy. It's what acupuncture based on. When patients have back pain, foot taiyang. Which meridian can balance foot taiyang? Look at here. Tai in. How many tai in you learned? 2 tai in. One is hand tai in, one is foot tai in. Which tai in balance foot taiyang? Right here. Hand tai in will balance foot taiyang. So here you put a hand. On this side you put foot. And here you put foot. On this side you put hand. Hand the tai in, balance foot taiyang. What is the meridian of hand tai in? Hello? What is hand tai in? Lung. Okay, after licensed for 10 years, you forgot already? You still hang on to which point to treat the back pain, fibromyalgia pain in the back, huh? Lung channel will balance any problem in the UB channel, right here. So how do you treat the back? Put a whole bunch of needles in the lung channel. That's a quick, dirty way. You don't even care where it is. Put all the ulcer point on your arm, okay? Kill the back pain. If you don't believe me, try it on Monday morning. I'm not kidding. In the afternoon, I will demonstrate it too. Again, stick those needles in within seconds. You want to see the pain start decreasing. All right? So this is a system 2, the balance. We use that a lot. A lot of you use this too, but you just never know why you use it. For example, patient have a problem in the stomach, heartburns, acidity, too much acid in the stomach, nauseous. Which point you use? Your good habit in the past. First thing you think about treating nauseous, treat the acidity in the too much acid in the stomach, and nauseous. What the point you choose? Pericardium 6. Agree? Why? Because your teacher says so? Because empirical? No, it's from the strategy here. Which meridian balance stomach meridian? What is the Chinese name of stomach again? Foot Yangming. Which meridian balance foot Yangming? Hand Jue Yin. That's why you choose pericardium 6. And pericardium 6 is the point you put the needles in where it shoots the whole meridians. Go into the palm, go up to the elbow. Powerful. Attune the whole meridian. That's why you choose that point to treat the stomach meridian problems. Did you see that? Every acupuncture single point always have the meaning and the reason why they use that to treat the problem. That's what you're going to learn today about the Master Dong's points too. It's not only a whole bunch of dead memorization. Okay? Yeah. Number 3, another system you can use to balance, which you are very familiar with. We call it what? Biao Li relationship. In English, exterior, interior relationship. What is the Biao Li relationship? You still remember? Tai Yin, balance with what? Yang Ming. Jue Yin, balance with what? Shao Yang. And Shao Yin, balance with what? Tai Yang. Hand, balance with hand, meridian. And foot, balance with foot, meridians. Can you tell me anatomically what is it? This system also the yin balance the yang balance the yin. And yet, this system also state any two meridian. If they have the similarity in anatomy, they balance each other. And yet, they are all in the hand meridian, or they are all in the foot meridian. What is tie in? Frontal in. Balance what? Oh, I'm here. Here's a mistake. I'm sorry. Tie in, balance. Oh, yes, that's correct. Yang Ming, I'm sorry. What is Yang Ming again? Frontal Yang. What is tie in again? Frontal in. So the frontal balance the frontal. In balance Yang. This is what the system is saying. Anatomically, they have the similarity. The frontal balance the frontal, the medial balance the lateral, and then the back posterior balance the posterior. Imbalance the yang, yang balance in. Are you familiar with this in school? Very much, right? Exterior, interior, yin-yang relationship. But many of you are frustrated and angry because you spent probably half semester to learn this. And you tried it and it never worked. That's why you are frustrated and angry. And people have an elbow pain in the large intestine, right side. You put the long 5, which is what? Tai Im balance Yang Ming, right? Large intestine, elbow pain. You try this method. You put a long 5, okay, on the same side, and didn't work. And then you start thinking, the Chinese people wrote that down probably just a baloney, okay? Why it did not work? Have you ever thought why it did not work in the past? Because you forgot. Every time you do this, you have to do opposite side. That's what you never learned. That's why it didn't work. I guarantee you, if anybody have a knee pain on the liver channel, right side, you can put another needle on the left side. Okay, opposite side in the gallbladder channels. You're going to treat the knee pain on the opposite side liver channels. Okay, it worked immediately again. So this is system number 3. System number 4. We're going to review the system quickly before the first break. Then we'll move on into Mastodon's points, okay, quickly. System 4 is Chinese clock. I know many of you the first time, already 5 times in this, okay, or 10 times. But every time I teach, don't you feel you absorb differently, right? Because you are in different levels. Chinese clock, opposite side. You still remember Chinese clock after you passed your license for 20 years? No? Oh, I'm so glad you're so honest. I like it. Yeah. Many people threw that clock away because so stupid. It never worked, okay? 11 to 1, you stick the needle in gallbladder, you still have to pray the miracle happen, okay? Besides, who's coming to my office at midnight between 11 and 1? It's not practical, okay? Nobody come in my office, and I have to treat a heart meridian either, because that's my lunchtime. Who's coming between 11 to 1 and noon? Nobody, okay? Because I'm out lunch. I'm sipping my martini, okay? Yeah. So this stuff doesn't work, and then we don't need it to use it, right? So you totally trash it. But I tell you, I use this every day on at least 40% of my patients. Why? It works. How do you work? Starting from gallbladder, then you go liver, then lung, large intestine, stomach, okay, and then spleen, then heart, and small intestine, UP, and then kidney and pericardium and sanjiao. This is the whole clock. The most important thing is not how fast you can finish the clock like me. The most important thing is you have to connect the two meridians on the opposite side of the clock. Why? Any two meridians situated, located on the opposite of the Chinese clock, they must have a very interesting relationship. It must be a yin-yang hook up with a foot-in meridian. A foot-yang hook up with a hand-in meridian. So that the yin balance the yang balance the yin, and the foot balance the hand balance the foot. So beautiful. So in your heart, you should say, my heart should balance what? Gallbladder. My spleen should balance what? Sanjiao. My pericardium should balance what? Stomach. My lung should be balanced what? UB. My liver should balance what? Small intestine. And the last one is my kidney should balance with my large intestine. This is the most important thing you need to remember, memorize by heart. I'm sorry, you have to memorize it. Any two meridians, how they pair each other on the opposite side of the clock, and you can use it anytime you want. No matter it's midnight, lunchtime, early in the morning, or later in the afternoon, does not matter. And it works. If you don't believe me, watch me in the afternoon when I do demo. If you don't believe me, when you go home tonight, treat your mother-in-law, okay? Usually that's the first patient you want to experiment on, okay? Yeah. 立竿见影. All right? Stick the needles in, you see the result right away. System number 5. Same clock. Different point of view. We hook up the yin meridian with yin, yang meridian with yang. And then what? They balance each other. Kidney balance pericardium, liver balance with the lung, spleen balance with what? Heart. All the yang channel is the same as system 1. Every yang channel located at the Chinese clock, the neighbor yang channels, foot yang, hand yang, they balance each other just like system 1. So all you need to memorize in this system is the yin channels. That's why a lot of times when you have a heart meridian problem, for example, like insomnia, we treat what? Spleen. That's why many times when you have a heart palpitation, we choose the spleen 6. That's the reason. What is the system 6? Some of the older students maybe say, huh? You said system 5. What is system 6? System 6, I never really address it because I assume everybody knows. What is system 6? same meridian. Balance same meridian, okay? Gallbladder channel problem, you can treat the gallbladder. Heart have a problem, you can treat heart. Usually we do the same side, but I don't do local points. I don't do local points. For example, if you have a gallbladder problem, a channel problem in the head with a side headache, what's your diagnosis? Gallbladder meridians, side headache. We can treat that headache by penetrate the gallbladder meridians, but I don't put any single needle in the head for that problem. I use the image and Miro to do that. That's a system number 6. Also, many of you has been in my advanced class. Do you remember in the Bagua system? When we treated the I Ching Bagua systems, we invited the same meridian, it's a 6 meridian, in the yin-yang dynamics, remember? That's the system 6 concept, all right? All the 6 systems designed for what? For the big picture of acupuncture 1, 2, 3. All the 6 systems is designed for what? Find the balance. Up to now, I am not say or state or taught you how to choose a point yet. But we already learned how to pick the balancing meridians. Okay? So this is a big structure. Acupuncture 1, 2, 3. There's a new thinking. How do you do acupuncture? Step 1, identify the 6 meridian. Step 2, following the 6 systems, you are going to find the balance. Step 3, it's a coming up one. Step 3 is a point. Which point I'm going to use? According to step 2, and first thing is called what? Miro. Second thing is called what? Image. And then 5 elements. Which is my new invention, using the digital way to look at the 5 elements. Then of course there's the I Ching Bagua method, I Ching or I Ching Bagua method. This is how you choose the points. Then I have another invention, it's called the 12 magical points. And so on. If you have other strategy, you can choose those. But again, when you choose the points, first of all, you need to do step number 2. You decide which meridian I am going to put the needles in first. Then you decide, according to that step 2, can I use Miro, image, 5 elements, I Ching, Bagua, 12 magical point. For today's class, we focus on the Miro and image. This is more advanced stuff. If you check my teaching schedule, curriculum, you will see sometimes I teach those, okay? But today's class will be mainly on the image and the Miro. What is Miro? A lot of people don't understand. This is one of the very, very important concepts, how acupuncture works. Miro is a terminology we use in my teaching. Means when you compare the mapping relationship between limb and limb, we call it Miro. Upper limb compare with the lower limb, what is the relationship? We call it Miro. Straightforward Miro, the hand mirror the foot, the fingers mirror the toes, the wrist mirror the ankles, the forearms mirror the lower leg, the knee mirror the elbow, the upper leg mirror the upper arm, the shoulder mirror the hip. Make sense? It's just a picture. So you can treat what? Neuropathy in the peripheral area using strict Miro technique. Anybody have a fasciitis, neuropathy in the toe, in the foot, you can Miro to the hand. I don't put any single needle in the foot to treat the foot fasciitis or neuropathy. Never. I quit that 30 years ago. Okay? 30 years ago, I do that. I quit that 30 years ago. I only put needles in the hand and in the fingers to treat that. Only, please remember, only. Sometimes the patient asks me, how can that work? It does feel much better after you stick the needle in. How does that work? How come you don't put the needles in my foot and toes and treat my foot and toe problems? You know how do I answer them? I say, did you see the light? Is it on? Yeah. Where is the switch? Right there. No. I say only the dumb engineer put the light switch by the light. Okay. And every time you want to turn this damn light on and off, you have to get a ladder and climb. Okay? Change your belief in how acupuncture works. When it doesn't work, change your belief. The switch for the light don't have to be by the light. It can be very far away and control it beautifully. You can even dim it up and down. You don't need to borrow a ladder to turn that light on and off. Okay? Change your belief system. That's exactly what I said. But I tell you, I've been teaching all over the world. I know many new students, even brand new students, 50% of them. Even I demo to them, I teach them 4 days, banging on their head, want to change their belief system. When they go back on Monday, they still do the same old, okay? They just have the fear, okay, to do anything new. That's human nature, okay? But I want to challenge you. Monday morning, you try the new method.